Live from Nazarene offices in Arcadia, California, I'm Joe Tarosian, and this is RamView coming to you from on the road. It is a different environment I am working in right now, so bear with me trying to get some stuff taken care of. My input volume, there we go. I think we've turned it up a little bit. Now we're in business. So it is January 27th, 2025, and this is RamView. I am not in the RamCave. I am doing business across town. But this episode of RamView is brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident, need help, got questions, call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. Guys, I'm not going to be long today. I'm on foreign turf. I'm not feeling the vibe, but I could not go on. So here I am. And what I am most certain of today, more today than any other day since the Rams lost in Philly, is that 13 yards and a point after, and the Rams would be playing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That's what it is. I don't know. Were you impressed? I was not overly impressed with Philly. I'm sorry. I just wasn't. We saw what the Commanders were, or the Taxkins were. We saw what they were. They were a good team. They were an exciting story, but that was bait ready to be taken there if the Rams had that opportunity. And 13 yards and a point after, a rookie center making a poor choice, looking left instead of staying right on Jalen Carter, and maybe, just maybe, the Rams are in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I'm a little bit bummed about that. It's bugging me watching those games yesterday because it was there. Everything was there for them to take. And we missed an opportunity. Tim Burns, thank you for clicking on, guys. So the questions are going to be a little weird. I'm working off my laptop right now, so it is going to be a little bit different. I got a crazy office behind me. Let's see what Tim Burns has to say. Questionable calls in Bills game. Not the 4th and 1, the whole game, but choosing 2-point conversions in the third quarter is weird. Continued to run Allen up the middle after being stuffed 4 times. I agree with that. I really do. I'm going to get to that there in the Around the NFL and Other Places segment, because like I said, we're not going wrong. If I go 15, 20 minutes, it's going to be a miracle here right now. But I want to get into some Rams stuff. So if you have questions, load them up there and we'll get into it. I just feel really out of place, when you're not in your home turf, like it's like taking this game on the road. And it's a little bit tough. So 6 days ago, Over the Cap listed the Rams salary cap space for 2025 at 46 rocks. Today it's listed at 38, and I'm trying to figure out the reason why. If somebody could look that up for me, I'd really appreciate that, because 46 is different than 38, especially what you think in terms of what the Rams have to do. They've got questions to answer. Forget about Cooper Kupp right now. We are talking about the re-signing or restructuring in some extent of Matthew Stafford, because none of his money next year is guaranteed. That's just not going to wash. We know we want him to be paid. We know we want him back. And so 46 rocks going down to 38 rocks is a big deal and something to keep an eye on, especially when you think what the Rams may want to do in terms of free agency, because there are going to be changes, right? There are going to be things that are going to be going on that they got to make some calls. And one of the calls I wanted to get into briefly here today is, what if the Rams lose Matthew Stafford? What if Kelly Stafford says, honey, you played with 4 busted ribs or cracked ribs. What are we going to do here? You got 4 daughters here. You got me. You got your Super Bowl ring. You got $365 million you've made playing quarterback. What else is there? I don't think he's going to go anyplace else, because we broke down in the last show there's no place to go. But let's just say Matthew Stafford says, you know what, I've had enough. He joins Aaron Donald and says, my cup is full. We don't want that to happen, but he's upright, he's walking, and he's reasonably healthy. He may want that, or his wife may want that. And so what do the Rams do? I think I demonstrated, I shared on Wednesday's show or last Friday's show, the difficulty of moving up in the draft. I used the two different platforms, trying to give 3 number 1 picks just to move up to the 3rd pick in the draft. That's something that's going to cost you to move up to the 1st or 2nd. And you have to ask yourself a question. Is Cam Ward somebody you'd want to replace Matthew Stafford? Is Shedeur Sanders somebody you want to replace Matthew Stafford? And it's funny, the more people start talking about Shedeur Sanders, they're talking about his limitations. And I'm hearing a lot of conversation about Jalen Milroe, and I'm hearing a lot of conversation about Jackson Dart. And you don't have to trade up into the top 10 probably to get those guys unless they have phenomenal combines. I do not like the idea of, was it Kyle McCord, the former Ohio State quarterback, and Syracuse? Yeah, if you want to draft him, 4th round, I'm not going to complain. I don't want to see him drafted on the first day by the Rams. So what do you do at quarterback? I think we're not really into Sam Darnold because you're going to have to pay money for Sam Darnold. Maybe if Kirk Cousins gets put in the street for a while for a stopgap, Kirk Cousins might be okay because Kirk Cousins now is not going to fetch any serious money. Falcons will be paying him off. He'll work for league minimum a la Russell Wilson. So what do the Rams do? Who do they go after? Justin Fields? If Steeler fan Rob, he's got a fantasy about Justin Fields leading the Steelers to the promised land, but most people in the rational world know that Justin Fields is not the guy. So as I was breaking this down in prep for this show, the guy that I think is the best option for the Rams should Matthew Stafford decide to retire is already in-house, and his name's Jimmy Garoppolo. Give him $5-6 million to come back if Stafford decides to retire, maybe 8, and make him your stopgap for a year. Garoppolo has proven he can win playoff games. He can win playoff games on the road, and he can get your team to a Super Bowl and be up in the 4th quarter. I'm not a big Jimmy G fan. He's nowhere near the class that Stafford's in. But one of the things that kind of comes about is that if Stafford retires, you pay Jimmy G less than 10 rocks, you got more room to get more components around Jimmy G, right? And it's not what I want, but I think it's what I would settle for, or what I would go after if Matthew Stafford retired. And I'm kind of curious to see if you guys have any thoughts about that. All right, we got an audience here in this weird environment that I'm in. Thank you, Steve Ramirez. Rams missed 1 missed block, missed communication from a Super Bowl. Yep. In hindsight, most frustrating Rams loss since December 26, 1976. I don't think we're ever going to get over that one, Steve. And Bobby Bryant. I hope Bobby Bryant just is feeling some guilt today. But other than that, it does loom, right? You're right, Steve. It kind of swells and it kind of grows when you just a miscommunication. If you don't want to, I know some of the all 22 and some of the video are trying to put this on Kevin Dotson. I'm just going to say if, a normal center wouldn't take his eyes off Jalen Carter in that moment. And the struggle is watching these teams play. It's like this moment might not come again, right? 1 block, 13 yards, 1 PAT from beating a team that dropped 55 on the Taxkins in the NFC Championship game. It is frustrating. Mark Reber, yep, we blew it or we would be in the big one. Thank you. Someone else sees it that way too. Tim Burns, Stafford should ask for a left tackle to keep playing. Everyone's really hot on Alaric Jackson. And my feeling about Alaric Jackson right now is, can you guarantee you're going to get somebody better? Because I would want somebody that's in the league. I would want somebody exceptional, but that person's going to cost you plus 20 rocks. Can you get Alaric Jackson for 15 to 20 rocks? Maybe. And at least he's familiar with the offense. Continuity. He's used to having Steve Avila on his right hip. Avila's used to having him on his left hip. And part of the problem with the 2022 offensive line chainsaw massacre was you had guys playing alongside guys they never played along before. And so it led to even more problems besides a lack of talent. I'm for just re-signing Alaric Jackson. And again, we've seen the Rams' history in drafting left tackles. Alex Barron, Jason Smith, Greg Robinson, Mike Drop, We're done. Okay. There you go. Tim Burns, we could use a Chiefs style nose tackle. Preach. I'm there. They were stuffing the run well, and we could use that. Is Tyler Davis going to develop? Bobby Brown might be on his way out if he doesn't get any offers, or if he does, he might get us a good compensatory pick. Yeah, that toilet clogger. We've been talking about that all year. They need that toilet clogger in the middle. That toilet clogger would relieve a lot of pressure off of Kobe Turner, off of Braden Fisk, and all the other stuff the Rams do along that front. Let's see. Steve Ramirez. I'm sorry, my questions keep piling up here, guys. I went too fast. Bill, what do you think about McVay trading a 6th-round pick for Cousins? I wouldn't trade anything for Cousins right now because I think Cousins is going to be put in the street. Either way, he's going to cost the Falcons a buttload of money. And I wouldn't make a move for him right now. Steve Ramirez, I don't see a quarterback in this draft worth trading up for. I'd draft a guy second day and re-sign Jimmy G. Yeah, I think we would. Brian Smith, I like the Notre Dame quarterback as a developmental guy. I like Riley Leonard too. I don't think he's as polished because we're kind of spoiled watching Stafford throw the ball. I think he's got more upside than Stetson Bennett. I don't think his game translates to a really long career because everything kind of opened up for the Irish because of the way Riley Leonard ran the ball. But if the Rams spent a 3rd-round pick on Riley Leonard, you're not going to hear a complaint from me. Does that make sense? Okay, Mark Reber. Jimmy G would be in hog heaven with our offense. I think he could take us all the way. He did with San Fran. He can get us to that game. I'm thinking of playoff wins in Frisco, playoff wins in Green Bay. So yeah, he can get you to the big game, right? Is he going to make a drive like you needed when you were trailing the Bengals at the end of Super Bowl 56? No, he's not that guy. But he can competently run the offense, and we saw him. With limited playing time, he actually looked pretty good this year. He looked healthy and mobile. Tim Burns, I have no issue with Jimmy G taking over for a season. I trust him more than most because I saw him up north, and he is better than some current starters. I think my problem with Jimmy G was they were calling him a great NFL quarterback or an awesome NFL quarterback before he won anything. This was a coward thing. Colin Coward was all over Jimmy G. And it was like they were anointing him before. It's like, bro, do something first. And it's kind of like my thing with Lamar. I'm not anti-Lamar. I'm just anti the KBM propping him up. And the same thing I was that way with Jimmy G. But I think Jimmy G's kind of made that turn in his career where he could be a great bridge for a season if please let it happen, Matthew Stafford retires. Bill, the Rams are the second best team in the NFL no matter what happens in the Super Bowl. Buffalo's good, but we beat Buffalo, right? Yeah. And watching that game last night, did you think the Rams might have had a shot against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? I think they would have, right? I think they would have had a shot. Brian Smith, 4 quarters of football for the Bills. They had no business being there anyway. Mark Andrews, hey, same thing with the Ravens, 4 quarters of football, and the Bills had their shot. I don't think they stole it from them, although I will say that 4th and 1, I don't know what the refs were seeing. I don't know. Even the crew didn't know what the NFL refs were seeing on that one. And again, it makes me highly suspicious of replay assist. It just feels very, very subjective. So I got a problem with that. Let's see here. Brian Smith, Bills are the 3rd best team in the AFC. Okay. Brian Smith, Mike Shad. Are you talking about Mike Shad from the 80s? Mike Shad? Oh, yeah, that was a disappointment, man. Mike Shad. But you know who was drafted, I think, in that same draft out of Wisconsin, Stevens Point? Anyone remember? Anyone remember who else the Rams drafted out of Wisconsin, Stevens Point? I think in the same draft we drafted Mike Shad. I'll leave it for the end. Tim Burns. Paul must be mad. No Kistler mugs. No Kistler mugs. There you go, Brian. Mike Shad. Let's see. Bill, how about Sam Darnold? Would you pay for Sam Darnold? I don't want to pay anything. Now, if Sam Darnold was going to come at the price of Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson this year, yeah, I'm all in on Sam Darnold. And a familiar kind of scheme, O'Connell to McVay, but I'm not going to give him 30 rocks. I'm not going to give him that money. I don't want to give him that money. He has been exposed, Brian Smith. Tom Newberry, guys. Tom Newberry, all-pro guard with the Rams, the same draft with Mike Shad. There you go, Brian Smith. You got it. Tim Burns, Travis Swift was MIA yesterday. I was wondering, I didn't see any flashes. Tim Burns, Cousins is an enigma. He has the stats, but teams move off him odd. And the dude has made a ton of money. I wish I had made the Kirk Cousins money. All right, guys. I'm Joe DeRosian, sports writer for 21 years. I'm not in the RamCave. I am doing my day job business. My day job is I pastor a small church in Burbank, and it's called Burbank Faith Nazarene. And you can see us on Burbank Faith Virtual right here on YouTube, burbankfaithvirtual.com, Burbank Faith Virtual all across social media. And right now I'm in these Nazarene offices in Arcadia, California, because I've been in credential meetings all day, and I got a chance to sneak this one in before dinner. So thank you for your support. Thank you to Paul Kistler and the support of Kistler Law. Thank you for those that are purchasing my books. If you haven't purchased a book, purchase one of my books. I don't have a Patreon. I don't have a paywall. It helps support me in this day job. Okay, around the NFL and other places, I don't have a whole lot. I talked about the Chiefs in Buffalo. The one thing is I don't have a problem with, I didn't want to see Philly win. They're a good organization, but I don't want to see Philly win. The Chiefs are amazing. The Chiefs are absolutely amazing. And I brought this up, I think, about 3 weeks ago. But one, you got Pat Mahomes. Okay, boom. You got Andy Reid. Boom. And then they kept Chris Jones there on defense. But, they got rid of L'Jarius Sneed, and they just, they drafted Trent McDuffie. They just keep popping. Remember when they had Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, a few years ago? They won a Super Bowl. They just keep reinventing and doing all these things on defense. They got Nick Bolton, right? They got Karlaftis from Purdue. They're just good, right? Pat Veach, the GM, he's outstanding. But here's my argument. One of the things is that I think an NFL team would be foolish to hire Steve Spagnuolo again. He's won at least 4 Super Bowls. I know he won one as the DC with the Giants, and he's won 3 as the DC with the Chiefs. And I'm thinking maybe if he gets a fifth Super Bowl ring as a DC, maybe there should be room for a defensive coordinator in Canton. Am I wrong on that? Am I wrong that maybe he should be room for a defensive coordinator on Canton? And I'm going to tell you right now, guys, off the top, I am rooting for the Chiefs against Philly because if Philly beats the Chiefs, it's just going to make that Ram loss even worse. And I kind of like the Chiefs. I like that people don't think they're politically correct. I like the tomahawk chop. I like an evil empire. And 3 in a row is going to be that much sweeter if the Rams can keep them from getting 4 in a row next year, right? So there we go. Feel really bad for Josh Allen. But one of the things I didn't hear, and maybe you guys did, so tell me if I'm wrong. You know what I didn't hear today, and I didn't listen to Coward or anybody else, but when when Lamar Jackson lost, it was, we got to get more help for Lamar Jackson. He needs more help. Did anyone make that argument in the KBM today? Just asking for Josh Allen. Did anyone make the argument, Josh Allen needs more help? Just kind of curious if anyone had Josh Allen's blind side. Seahawks have hired Clint Kubiak as their new OC, something to keep an eye on. And former Rams assistant, former Bears interim HC, Thomas Brown, has signed on with the New England Patriots and Mike Vrabel to be their tight ends coach and passing game coordinator. So there we go. Century, thank you so much for coming on. Have a great evening, Joe. Thank you guys so much. Bill, we need a shutdown corner and a number 2 receiver. I'm not going to argue with you at that at all, Bill. Rams need that's why the Emmanuel Forbes thing is kind of interesting. Emmanuel Forbes is kind of an interesting thing. The Rams made an investment. They're paying him 2 rocks next year, 2 rocks the year after that, because they picked up the remainder of his rookie contract as a first rounder. I don't think they would have done that if they didn't think they could develop him. And if he could develop, then maybe the Rams don't have to spend draft capital on a frontline corner, just depending on what they see in him. They need a receiver, flat out. They need a receiver, whether Kupp stays or not. They need a receiver. Let's see. Brian Smith, the Bills had 100-plus plays. Combined, they still couldn't get it done. The 4th and 1 was irrelevant. There was nothing on tape to overturn that call, period. I thought the call goes either way, but you're right that, you know what, big deal. They didn't give you the call. You could have stopped them, and you didn't stop them. So there we go. Bill, nice office. Yeah, this is an empty office we use for meetings. So yeah, it's a little light in Ram gear. Maybe I can get my boss to let me put some Ram stuff here. So my once a year broadcast, I can do it from here. Mark Reber, what the dog saw is what the cow heard. Okay, all right. Tim Burns, Tangent Dreams is a great book, people. It's a fun read, and it supports me financially. My baby needs a new pair of shoes. Buy Tangent Dreams on Amazon. Tim Burns, Colin Coward knew to stay away from Joy Taylor so he doesn't have it on the brain. Okay, there you go. Joe from Seattle, I thought Josh Allen was short on that 4th down. Fair enough. I'm not gonna make a huge complaint about it. I thought he made it, but if he didn't, that's cool. My thing is the Bills should have stopped them, and they didn't stop them. Benford going out was a big deal. Mark Reber, Demarcus Robinson needs to stay. I'm not against Demarcus Robinson. I'm not going to be upset about Demarcus Robinson, but I don't know if he's a have to. I just don't know if he's a have to. Tim Burns, a Steeler fan Rob, a closet Eagles fan. No, Steeler fan Rob is somebody that lingers. He's the Gollum. He's the Gollum of the football world. He's the Smeagol. He likes to come in and just chirp at you. To take the focus off of his team. This guy actually believes they're going to dance with Justin Fields next year and be successful. Help me in Pittsburgh land. Bill, with the exception of Kupp and Stafford, who's on this Ram team is a Hall of Famer? Fast start, Jared Verse. I don't think you can go any. It's still way too early. There are beyond those two. No, there's no one. And even Kupp's going to be a close call because there's a glut of receivers with big fat numbers, right? Even with Kupp, it's going to be a real close call. He's going to have to wait. Look how long Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce had to wait, right? And Torrey Holt, I think, is still waiting unless some news came out. Manuel Vasquez, I think losing to the eventual Super Bowl champion is better. They can at least say the champs beat us. So I don't like either team, but I'm hoping the Eagles win. I guess that's one view, Manny. I guess that's one view. It's just that I'm spiteful as a person. I'm spiteful as a sports fan. Does that sound better? You shouldn't hear your pastor say spiteful, but as a sports fan, sports writer, sports guy, I'm spiteful. So no, I want the Eagles to lose and right stinking in the earth. There you go. Mark Reber, I thought Ravens would win it all unless they played the Rams. It was just a hard sell. Another year, right? Another year waiting for Lamar to get over the hump, right? But then again, Josh Allen, same thing. But Josh Allen does pick off some playoff wins. Brian Smith, cheating Tom Brady's records need to fall. Mahomes is the man to do it. Mahomes looks like he's going to rack up a whole bunch. I'm wondering at what point Mahomes lose interest, right? You get a 3rd straight Super Bowl. That's amazing. Joe from Seattle, would you want Kyler Murray from the Cardinals? No, Joe from Seattle. Thank you for clicking on. I hope you subscribe. I hope you like the show. I hope we can talk all year about Seahawk football because you guys are doing a lot of things. I think you need a quarterback. My question to you would be, we don't want Kyler Murray. Would you want Kyler Murray instead of Geno Smith? So that's my question to you. Manny Vasquez, I'm spiteful as well, but circular reasoning makes me feel better about it. Okay. Whatever allows us to arrive to our conclusions, I'm right there with you, Chief. That's funny. Tim Burns, Joe T isn't ever going to be Kyler ever. No, I'm not. I'm not going to be Kyler ever. All right, let's keep rolling along down here. If you guys go to midvalleysports.com, it's the website group that I helped found many moons ago. I've left. Now I just supply my column and Rams notes. So we've got Rams notes that talks about mock drafts and people that are being talked about in terms of the draft. So if you click on midvalleysports.com, scroll down or click on the pro football button, you'll see what we've talked about before in terms of the draft. And then today, 247 Sports, I've added it to it. 247 Sports at number 26 has the Rams taking Missouri right tackle Armin Membo at right tackle. He's 6'3", 314, full-time starter the last 2 years, but he's exclusively a right tackle. And I mentioned this a week ago because I used him in one of our own mock drafts about 10 days ago. And but Membu from Missouri, he feels a little short at 6'3", and 6'3" doesn't seem short, except when you consider Alaric Jackson at left tackle is 6'7", and Rob Havenstein at right tackle is 6'8". And so I think we don't know what the Rams are going to do. It depends. What if Havenstein hangs it up? What if you can't sign Alaric Jackson? That'll affect everything in the draft. But if everything stays the same and we get a good deal with Alaric Jackson, I got to believe the Rams are going after receiver. Something to think about. But click on Mid-Valley Sports for some of our mock drafts and then see how they compare to 247 Sports, Sports Illustrated, Pro Football Network, and CBS Sports' mock draft. All right, let me knock out a couple things here real quick. I'll go back to some questions before we wrap up. On this day, 1970, January 27th, Rams trade kicker Bruce Gossett to Frisco for defensive back Kerman Alexander and a second-round pick. Pretty interesting trade there. The second-round pick was Charles Williams. It didn't amount to anything. But on this day, January 27th, 1970, with the 22nd overall pick, the Rams drafted Jack Reynolds, first-round pick out of Tennessee. And he became, of course, Hacksaw Reynolds and legendary Ram, a guy that is overlooked in terms of Super Bowl. Won 2 Super Bowls with the 49ers, went to a Super Bowl with the Rams. And, of course, when Jack Reynolds played, there was this log jam at middle linebacker. You had Tommy Nobis. You had Leroy Jordan. You had these beasts that got all the energy in the NFC. And then, of course, you in the AFC you had Jack Lambert and those guys. That's when the Willie Lanier. That's when the middle linebacker was everything, and only one guy could be all pro. So Jack Reynolds never had any all pros. I think he had 1 Pro Bowl appearance. But on this day, 55 years ago, the Rams drafted him in the first round. I actually heard Jack Reynolds' health is failing a little bit, so someone to keep in your thoughts. Also, the same draft at number 204. The following day, on January 28th, the Rams drafted Rich Saul. And Rich Saul joined the Rams in 70, didn't become the starting center until 1975, and then rattled off like 6 consecutive Pro Bowl seasons. That's development, and that is hitting a home run out of Michigan State with Rich Saul. And again, the interesting thing about Rich Saul is he's part of that line from Ken Iman from 1965 all the way through Rich Saul and Doug. Doug Smith, who from Bowling Green, who played with the Rams through 1990, 1991. That literally for 27 years, the Rams only had 3 centers, and that was a pretty amazing feat. Born on this day in 1986, former Ram defensive tackle, one of my favorite rotational guys, Kendall Langford. He was part of a pretty good Ram defense from 2012 to 2014, playing alongside Aaron Donald, playing alongside Chris Long, playing alongside Robert Quinn. That was some of those great defenses that were wasted in the Jeff Fisher years. Let's see. Also born on this day, he's 29 years old, is former kick returner Nisimba Webster. Anyone remember Nisimba Webster? And then tomorrow, since we're not on the air, we're going to mention it. Tomorrow is the 21st anniversary of the passing of Crazy Legs Elroy Hirsch. He passed away at the age of 80 in 2004. Hall of Famer, Michigan. We know the story of Crazy Legs Hirsch. All right. I think we got it all in. We've actually got 30 minutes in. Let's do a couple of quick questions here. Rams, Eagles fans are demons. Eagles fans are demons. They must lose. Yes, must lose. There you go. Mark Reber, Murray. Ha, no way. There we go. Brian Smith, Mike Trout is an Eagles fan. And, that just tells you, it's Mike Trout. I like Mike Trout, but they never go anywhere. Manuel Vasquez. I've seen a lot of mock drafts with us taking a tight end. Loveland, the Michigan guy, right? What do you think about it? I think it's tricky to take a tight end in the first round. I think Hunter Long is a free agent, but you still got 2 years left with Davis Allen. You still got 2 years left with Colby Parkinson. I think Colby Parkinson might be better next year after a year in the system. I'm not the one that said it, but a lot of people, smarter people than me, have said playing tight end in Sean McVay's system is no easy feat. And so yeah, I think that's that give Parkinson another year, and then you got another year with Higbee. I don't see the Rams drafting a tight end in the first round. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. And of course, Steve Ramirez wants Tyler Warren. I did share in the first mock draft I did, I had the Rams taking a cornerback, and in that mock draft, it had Tyler Warren going to the Chiefs at number 32. So how would that make you feel if Tyler Warren ended up with the Chiefs? That's funny. Guys, I got an audience, and I can't believe I do, but I got to go. So it's 5:40. I've been on the air for 30 minutes. Thank you so much for being patient with all of this. And we don't have our sounds. We don't have our opening. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. Be sure to hit subscribe. Be sure to hit like. Be sure to leave comments. Be sure to go visit us at Amazon. Support the books. Yeah, so we do appreciate that. Brian Smith, thank you so much. Mr. Powers, last chime in here. Cup, Tutu, Robinson will be gone. Draft a wide receiver. I'm really interested to see how it plays out with Cup. Do you pay 22.2 in dead cap? Is there a team that would want to trade for him, or will he restructure? Really interesting to see what happens with Cooper Kupp. Okay, guys, God bless. Take care. Do appreciate your support. We will see you on Wednesday. Be sure to go to Mid-Valley Sports and check out football updates and Rams notes. We also got Bolt action with some Charger notes and some Raider notes as well. So God bless you guys. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.